Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another installment of Everyday Agile with Angel Henry. It is Monday morning, and we are just a couple of weeks out from the insurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement, and it's everywhere, right? We're talking about it on Zoom meetings and in my professional associations and on the weekends with girlfriends, and colleagues are reaching out, asking how they can help be allies, etc., etc. And one thing that I realized, because you're thinking, how on earth can you apply agile thinking to what's going on now with the pandemic and with Black Lives Matter movement? So in a previous episode, I talked about some of the principles of agile thinking and how they can help you through COVID-19 and the pandemic and homeschooling. And now that homeschooling's over, summer activities with your kids who may not be in daycare and who are with you all summer long, my situation. But I'm realizing that agile thinking could have helped me. So this is a retrospective in hindsight, could have helped me when it comes to dealing and processing and talking about racism. And what I realized is that as I look back over my career, my professional career, and I think of incidents of the microaggressions that occurred, underlying comments, or constantly having to feel like I have to prove myself. Despite all the degrees and experience and years of work, I still feel like I have to prove myself when I come and have a seat at the table for a discussion or to lead a meeting. And when I think about all those incidents of microaggressions that had occurred, I realized that this Black Lives Matter movement is a trigger for me, and maybe for many of you, as you look back on how maybe you have unintentionally perpetrated or committed a microaggression against a minority group, or when you yourself have been the recipient of one. And I realized that if I had not buried those feelings, had I not said, just ignore it, move on, keep going, told myself that's just the way it is, keep going, if I had taken some personal time to maybe talk with a professional, maybe a therapist or a coach, a professional coach, or even just a trusted confidant, if I hadn't buried those feelings, then I could have incrementally processed them and moved on and truly went on to healing and being healthy. But now I have so much built up residual feelings that it's too much to process all at one time. So I'm gonna have to go back and do some emotional healing work for myself because this Black Lives Matter movement has become a trigger for me, and how I realize personally and professionally there's a lot of unhealed emotion and circumstances that were in some cases traumatic because they were that overt, all the way down to those minor microaggressions that I just buried and moved on, and it just all built up over time. So lesson learned, as we are talking, as we are protesting or wanting to be a part of a movement or joining a voters' right movement, whatever positive thing that you're doing during this time is great, but just as conversations come up, as you're triggered, as you have anger or sadness or whatever emotion you're feeling, that you process it. Take the time to process it as it's happening. Okay. Till next time.